question. Want to talk about hot topics. And so we're given another extended platform where our community can engage and then learn about what's going on in our CCSD school district. So this SPaCE meeting, we're going to talk about data. And our first presentation is going to be about our academic data. It's going to be presented by Ms. Kathy Gear, and she's in the Office of Accountability Department. So at this time, Ms. Gear, if you don't mind. We're going to have an opportunity for you all to ask questions at the end. I know we have some individuals that may be on Zoom, and you all are welcome to put in your questions in the chat box, and then we'll answer it as well. All right. So,
Thank you. Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm happy to be here today. I was asked to talk about some of the things that are going well and some of the things, the challenges that we have in the district with regard to our academics. And actually, this is a great job to have right now because things are going great. Our students, I think that they left because they have one back, but students, our parents who are supporting them, our teachers, our schools, and our district office, things are improving and looking good in terms of literacy, in terms of math growth, and in terms of college and career readiness. So we're going to talk about some of those points. So one of the reasons that things are improving is because we really try to stay focused on supporting everything that we do with what we call our 3 pillars. Our 3 pillars are rigorous classroom instruction, high quality teachers, and high quality administrators. And then the 3rd pillar that supports all the work that we do is wraparound services, the extra stuff that we do for students that allow them to access and be their best in the classroom. Support with mental health, nutrition, from the nurse, so many things that are done in the hospitals that support wraparound services. And so these are the 3 pillars that are supporting the academic work that we're doing in the progress that we're making. So I'm going to start with literacy. So literacy and how well students are reading. One of our big goals in the district is what we call Vision 2027. And so each year, we use our 5th graders as a kind of bellwether to see how we're doing. Our goal is by 2027 to have 100% of our 5th graders reading on grade level. That's a pretty ambitious goal, but we are actually making a lot of progress. You can see that in the past 3 years, we've increased 8 percentage points in the percent of our 5th graders reading on grade level from 54.2% to 62.2%. When we look at literacy more broadly, we look at all of our students in grades 3 through 8 and how they're doing with literacy. Their reading scores look terrific too. We're seeing growth in so many. Growth from 25.5, about a quarter of our students reading on grade level in grades 3 through 8 in 21-22. To just this past year, we're already up to 35.1% of our students reading on grade level. And our data this year suggests that we're going to grow again next year. In addition to seeing growth at all of our grade levels and across grade levels for 3 days, we're also seeing growth in our student groups, which is so exciting that all of our students are improving. That when we look demographically or ethnically, we see growth in all of our areas. Particularly, if we look at our African-American students, 15.2 percentage points in literacy growth since 2021. We're also growing with our white students and with our Hispanic students. We still have some catching up to do, I think, with our Hispanic students, and this is a big focus area. How can we help students grow even more when they're currently growing? In addition to literacy, which we track in the early grades mostly, We also track math skills, and we start looking particularly at algebra readiness. Are students ready to do the kind of math they need to do to be successful in high school and beyond? And so algebra readiness measures the percent of students who complete Algebra 1 and score a C or better on the end of course exam before they enter high school. So they've already not only taken a high school course, but they've done really well on the end of course test that high schoolers take in the course. And so what we're seeing here is that from 21-22 to last year, 23-24, the percent of our 8th graders who are leaving 8th grade with that skill, that math skill and competency under their belt is improving. So we've gone from 24.9% of all 8th graders meeting this high school requirement to 30.9% of all 8th graders completing that high school. We also see growth again here in our student groups and our algebra readiness as well. A lot of growth, not quite as much as in literacy, and this is where a lot of focus is on math this year. And last year, we're trying to shift some resources and bolster up our math schools. We also track what we call college and career readiness. So the state has different markers that identify a student as being ready for their career backgrounds. Markers that they use to identify students as being ready to enter college and be successful in college. We're seeing growth there as well, 10.3 percentage points in the last 8 years. And that's the percentage of students in the graduating cohort. So of all the students who graduated last year, in spring of 2025, spring of 2024, this is the percent that were college and career ready, but that's actually college or career. We also see growth in our student groups, a lot of growth here in our African American students and our Hispanic students, and in other ethnicities in terms of college and career readiness. A lot of increases. A lot of this is due to increased enrollment in dual enrollment courses, our terrific CTE programs. You can learn more about do a lot of that. We're also seeing increasing graduation. Last year, we saw the highest graduation rate in Charleston County that Charleston County has ever had. 88.8% of our students graduate. That's amazing. We're also seeing an increase in grad rates in most of our demographics. And you can see those increases here. That's all I have for the data updates. Are we taking questions? Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or? Well, if you think of anything, let us know.
And also at the very end, we have some questions. So if anything comes up between now and then, before we get started, before I introduce the next presenter, I want to talk about our department, which is the Department of Student Support and Community Engagement. In our department, we work with chronic absentee. We have our preventive intervention facilitators. Those are individuals who works with our students who we've been put on probation due to in lieu of expulsion type. And so they go always to work with the students to help them get back on track and to provide the resources that they need, whole student resources. The plan is to make sure they don't break those contracts. So they work with them. We also have what we call a truancy interventionist, and those individuals work with students that's on truancy probation. And the same thing applies to work with those students and the family, provide them with resources, and then make sure that they break that contract. The goal is to see what we can do to ensure that they're in school so they can have academic success. And we also have a community engagement partner, Ms. Lauren Crawford. She works with our community members. And her role is to get donations, see if our community partners can come and work with our schools, just to help us with our scholars, again, providing them with the resources that they need. So we always looking for community assistance. So if you know of any community programs or anyone who wants to volunteer at school, please don't hesitate to reach out to Ms. Crawford and she can help you all or direct you all what needs to be done. Let me see this. All right. So at this time, I am going to introduce Ms. Megan People. She is with the student, student support services, excuse me, the school. This is our sister department. We work closely together. So now we're going to talk about our panorama data. She's going to explain to you what it is. And then we're going to talk about how you all can with our students.
Thank you. Good evening. So yes, I'm Megan Bokino with Student Support Services, the Director of School Climate. We wanted to first start by just sharing a brief get the big picture of our department. So we call ourselves the helpers. We have a lot of our school psychologists, our school counselors, school social workers, behavior specialists, and many others that are out in schools every day, really wrapping around just that, your students, as well as the staff to ensure that they are have everything they need in order to be successful. So we really ground ourselves in our kind of vision statement here, just creating that climate of advocacy that is conducive to providing that equitable access, those resources and supports for all students within an ecosystem of their school, family, and community in order to positively impact student success. So we connect to our academic data and success by really ensuring that we're providing what we said, those needed wraparound services and supports for our students and families. So that could be anything from just ensuring that there aren't barriers to getting to school, that our students feel connected, that they feel safe and are invited into a positive school climate. So we really do most of our work in that pillar 3. When we say all students, we think about that. You see this triangle on that side of the screen, but really what do we do for all students and maybe what some or few students may need as additional supports and services. Our department also connects with pillar 2 in terms of we do a lot of professional development and coaching and training and support for a lot of those school stakeholder groups like our teachers and staff members, and work with a lot of our leadership teams to support their vision for in meeting their school level goals. So I'm sure many of you, if you are a parent or guardian of a student or a CCSD staff member, have heard of the Panorama Climate Survey. We do that annually, 2 times a year. We've been participating since about spring of 2021. And really today, we just wanted to make sure that all of our stakeholders were aware of what we're measuring and why we find it important to collect that student and that staff voice, what the data says from the fall, and then really hearing your input and feedback as we begin to plan for moving forward. How do we use that data and make it actionable for those improvements? So we'd like to start with the connection before content. So before I share that with you, just thinking back to your time in grade school, your time in school. What is the first memory that comes to your mind? You don't have to share out loud. Is it academics? Is it maybe some of those extracurricular activities like sports or committees, teams you're on? Or is it more fall in relationships? Those that you have with. Is anyone willing to hold up a 1, 2, or 3 for A, B, or C? Does anyone raise their hand? Is the first thing that comes to mind academics? Oh, I see 3s. I see a lot of 3s. I saw some 2s. Like, so if you have some 2s, I don't think I saw any 1s. So again, certainly The vision and the goal of the educational system is that we ensure we focus on academic outcomes. But that really, how important are those, your interests, those extracurricular activities, and those relationships? So again, student to student, student to adult, adult to adult, all of that is important. Thank you for participating. All right, so just some data. It's always important to share. Really, why do we collect this student and staff voice through this panorama climate survey? Well, the data right there supports that if we are finding out that students are engaged in their learning, in their working class, 57% less likely to be chronically absent. If we understand students who identify that they may need some extra support and social awareness, so they're reporting that that's not a strength, a lower score, that group of students would be 2.5 times more likely to have a behavior incident or infraction. So again, what can we do preventatively to make sure that we're helping build those skills in those students? And then that kind of thing about your college career readiness and pathway, just students who report higher self-management, which is one of the survey topics we do ask our students about, 70% less likely to face failing grades. If you think about that self-management, that's going to be those things like, are you organized and a self-starter? And that takes work. It takes practice to be able to master some of those skills. So here are the survey topics that we ask. So it's students grades 3 through 12. Again, there's a fall window, and we will participate again in the spring. But there's also always the option if parents, guardians feel they don't want their child to participate. It's called an opt-out. So we send out the information so that families could opt out if they feel like they do not want their students to participate. But you can see there, students 3rd through 12, those are the large topics: supportive relationships, self-management, teacher-student relationships, sense of belonging, and school climate. You'll see very similar with our teachers and staff. They just have additional questions about professional learning, about character skills. And then the adult focus on cultural awareness and actions. This is just for further knowledge of what those really mean. So those definitions. So again, when we think about the first two up there, when we ask students, self-management and supportive relationships, those are going to be them responding about their kind of personal skills, their personal strengths or opportunities for growth in that area. And then sense of belonging, thinking about that connectedness, school climate, that overall perception and feeling of the learning climate of the school, and teacher-student relationships. Again, that last one's adult only. But it's really important to us as a department and at the school level to really look at the whole child, to really understand what might be a barrier to them having those successful outcomes, and what can we do together to ensure they have a plan in place and have those supports to be able to move forward and work through those barriers. So in the fall, 2024, we see here the district data. So our area of strength, and this is the first time that our 3rd through 5th graders and our 6th through 12th graders had the same strength and then the same growth opportunity as well. So supportive relationships does include, when they're asked about that, any adult in their life. So not just in the school building, but do you have a peer you can count on and trust no matter what, a family or a friend outside of school and or inside the school building. So we see our percent favorable responses there. Our 3rd through 5th graders at 91% and our 6th through 12 at 87%. And then a growth area and opportunity identified with school climate. And again, thinking about that's that overall perception of feelings at the school environment. So 68% and 50% favorable responses. This is one of my favorite features in the platform. But when the students are answering questions, some of them come out in those percentile scores like you just saw, and then others come out in what's called a free response. And it generates this, what we call a little wordle or a word bubble. And the bigger the word or the bolder, the more students had that kind of topic or that theme in their responses. So our 6th through 12th graders here, they're telling us they need us to listen more, to understand them better, to not just talk about to them about work, to also get to know them as a person, think about those interests, and then you can see a lot about work. Help me when I'm struggling or upper grades, I have a lot to balance, help me understand how to organize or support with a lot of that work. So really those words, and then our 3rd through 5th graders this year, look, mom made it in the middle. So mom is certainly a supportive person in their lives, and they might need some more of that, but you can see here too, a lot similar of reading and math, needing help me understand my work. We also saw the themes of help me understand, help me calm down when I'm mad or frustrated. So dad's up there too. All right, and so what does that mean for us? So as those results come in, every school gets their individual reports. We get a district level report out. And again, remember, we're looking at what those feelings and perceptions are from the student voice, and as well as what the teachers and staff in that building saying. And what do we do with that? We want to engage with our staff in the school building. So they're doing their data analysis and kind of giving feedback and ideas to their administrative team. How do we identify those, again, those common areas of strengths, but also common areas of opportunities for growth? And then how can our departments help school teams put some interventions and resources in place? You can see that intervention planning. Is there requests for specific professional development or training needs for staffs? We want to communicate with our families. We want to ensure that there's avenues through platforms like this or school improvement committee or PTO team meetings, because we want you to know what the students and staff are saying about the school so that you also can contribute to that idea sharing, that problem solving. And then we did have an executive review session, actually just yesterday, with our senior leadership of the district. So they're also looking at this data, really identifying again where we can head next. Just to be mindful, we'll send district communication out, but we do have the spring window coming up, and this is different than the state climate survey. Ms. Gear and Buffy Roberts' department you'll be hearing some information about that coming soon. Just a required mandated survey for our 3rd through 12th graders, our families, and our teachers and staff. And again, just a reminder, we use Panorama to kind of progress monitor or quick check. But this is of course optional, but we do love as many people to participate so we get that voice. All right, so I know Ms. Drayton and team are going to lead you in some questions, but just before I finish up, any questions for me or thinking about how can we better hear from our parents, guardians, and community members? Or anyone have any questions? Yes. Yes, great question. So how do we survey? So all of our students, it's done on their personal devices. And so they're provided class time, a small amount. It usually only takes about 10 or 15 minutes. And then they're individually responding to those different topics and questions. Yes. Yes. They want, but all the district, the opt-out comes out through district communication. There's a call out in the email and a Google form link. So if your families opt you out, then the schools get that. Actually, your name's removed from the survey platform. So we like I said, we will want to hear from everybody, but it's not, it is optional. Any questions?
So let's talk. I wanted to ask you, please just give us some ideas on what we can do. If we go back to the next slide. Go back. One. To Megan. So the purpose of this is again to educate. We want to make sure that everyone is on one accord, on the same page of the information that we're sharing with our leaders and our teachers. We want our community to be able to have this information as well. But now that I have that information, we would love for you us to tell us, you know, some ideas for improving overall school climate at schools and at our district level. So if you all have anything would like to share something, definitely would jot it down and then take it back to those individuals.
Creo que las gráficas de pronto no son claras para todo el mundo. Es decir, digamos,
The graphics are pretty good for everyone.
pensaría que no sé si todos de acá pueden hacerlo, pero si pudieran hacer esto de una forma más entendible para los papás, eso es lo que deberían.
I think sometimes even being here and looking at the graphics, they may be understandable for everyone, but maybe, to create it in a different form for other parents that might have different styles and not have that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was good. Anyone else want to add? Again, we're here to make sure everyone's on the same page. So your idea definitely help us do that. All right. And then how can we better hear from our parents and guardians and community members? We're asking you all to help us. Any suggestion? That's good to hear that our parent advocate and an advocate for our family. Like, thank you so much for that. It's Phil Moss. She's very, right. Any other? You want to hear from? All right. So this is the segment where we're going to ask questions. We want to hear from you all. So we're going to continue with this, but we need you all to participate. Okay. So the next slide, let's talk. And then we have this, I don't even know what it is. We'll let us know from.
Thank you, Ms. Drake, and good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Crawford. I am the project manager for the Department of School Support and Community Engagement. This is a point where we're going to engage with you all and we want to hear back from you. So the first question is going to be, what is the most valuable piece of information received from the presentation today? And anyone can answer. Very good. Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Hear them, yes. Setting a good plan for them for the future, you know what to do. All right, those are good answers. Our next question is, do you have any questions pertaining to the presentation today? Okay. All right, well, I guess that's good. Silence is good. Number 3, are there any areas or topics needing additional clarification? I know it was a lot of information given tonight. Do you have any questions on how we can clarify something else for you, provide additional support for you and your families? Commented on again, like culture. I think we have any examples of what they like and they like, and maybe examples of what they would like to see change. Finding additional examples of the culture. What can we do to help them change it? You want more resources on how to help them with their scores. Okay, that's good. Because you said that you're a grandparent, raising grandkids, and I'm pretty sure the learning techniques have changed over time. So you might need a refresher or some assistance to do the lessons every night. I get it. Yes, ma'am. All right, number 4. Did today's SPaCE meeting provide you with an opportunity to be heard? I see a lot of head nodding for yes. So I'll take that as a, yeah, we did a good job tonight. All right, team, pat yourself on the back. Oh, are there any questions on Zoom? No questions. Well, thank you all tonight for answering our questions, and we'll take that feedback and get it back to our leadership. Oh, I'm sorry. We got one more. That's for now. I'd like to know, are they national representatives?
All of our data is national. There is some data. Pero están comparados al mismo organización. Entonces pueden buscar que usuarios estén aportando, pueden comparar la equivalente. Porque son iguales que la organización. ¿Cuáles son las estrategias que hay para bajar el porcentaje tan alto que hay entre la brecha de los estudiantes afroamericanos y los estudiantes blancos?
So is there a plan? And what is that plan? Is there a plan and what is that plan to change the large gap between, Caucasian? Ron,
I think that's forefront of our leadership superintendent or academic cabinet. Continuing to want to hear from others and what I look like as a priority focus area.
y eso es algo que en realidad es importante, algo de lo más importante
Have student groups that they prioritize and focus on what they feel like we do in their school for our Black students, all that we look at disabilities.
Entonces, algo nuevo que han hecho ahora, este año, ¿no? Es cambiar cómo hacen los fondos. Entonces, pues, directores no pueden decir, se puede poner un poco más de dinero para ayudar a los más. So the reason why there's such a large
I did not, I don't think there is one good answer, I think it's part of the trying to continue to do that. Para iniciar una barrera, pero ya pero no es nada nuevo, están buscando más para hacer different. Y eso también es una tendencia nacional. Right, but never on the total population. I think the third.
Well, those are all great questions. We have two more questions that we wanted to ask internally. The first question is going to be, what are some topics parents want to learn more about so we can plan for our future meetings? Anyone? Okay, well, we'll come back to that one, or if you think of something, we'll jot it down and, oh, we have one.
When you see background. Yes.
We did background?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about the whole child, but most of the time, when we think school, I was thinking that academics, the teacher, so thinking about all the other pieces that touch the child. So the rest could be our mental health services, but it could be, you know, if you need to connect with our social workers or parent advocates and families in need of something, like I said, it might be problem solving around attendance. So is there a barrier, you know? So we just making sure we're kind of putting all those pieces together.
They offer educational needs students, and they offer student content. They want to get a mentor, for that student, you know, like an adult mentor, to help build that relationship. And, and then actually there's an area, sometimes in school, you know, I told you can, go into the school and present to, activities, you want to be able to help out. If they're like, okay, we can connect them. So,
other health and physical care, we talk about basketball, talk about and.
All right, we have one more question to ask. And that question is going to be, how did the parents that are here tonight hear about our meeting? So was it on the school's website? Did you hear it from the district? Was it word of mouth? Share with us how you heard about our meeting. I know one parent, email. You got an email too? Email as well, so everybody got an email. What about you? Oh, the parent advocate, great. All right, so we got all emails and then parent advocate. What school are you from? AC Cochrane. All right, well, thank you all for your time tonight with questions and answers. I will turn it over back to Ms. Drayton to close us out. Thank you.
All right, so all the questions and then some of the answers that we given tonight is going to be posted, visible on our district webpage, correct? Can you tell me where they want to refer back to?
Yep, if you go to the Charleston County School District website and then you go under departments and you look for the Department of School Support, you'll be able to see the recording of this presentation as well as the presentation and the slides itself.
So that was tonight's meeting, and I'm so glad you all came out. This is our last meeting for this year. However, next year we'll be having other SPaCE meetings again, talking about hot topics. So please, look out for those invites on social media, email, and from our parent advocates. Thank you all. Y'all have a safe travel home. And good night. Oh, one last thing that we're asking you all to do, please, get your handy dandy phone out. And if you all can, sign up for our DOS newsletter. That information will keep you informed of what's going on, not only in our department, but as well in our districts. We want you all to be able to subscribe to our, DOS newsletter. Another form of communication that we're doing, share with our community. Okay? Thank you, Ms. Richardson, and then thank you all. I will have someone go retrieve the kids. Me, please. And again, thank you all so much. Safe travels.